Well, there we go. Hi, guys. We are live. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehan, and I'm so excited to finally be here with Mr. Santos. And I'm curious, where are you, Santos? I don't even know where you live.
Mexico, Quintana Roo, just south of Cancun, in a little sleepy village type seaside town called Puerto Morelos. It's the pearl of the Mayan Riviera.
Oh, wow. It sounds very relaxing and chill and connecting to nature and God and all the beautiful things.
Yes.
Well, for those of you, I have my story of how I found you and how your work has been not only an inspiration, but actually pivotal in who I am and what I'm currently doing. But for those of you who maybe not familiar with Santos, before we get on the subject of what we're going to talk about today, I would love for you to give a little background of who you are, how you got here, what you're currently doing, and kind of get everyone up to speed.
Okay, so my background is I grew up in Australia from immigrant Calabrian Italian parents. So I grew up, you could say, in a town called Myrtleford, which was called Little Italy, and the Bonacci name was probably the most known Italian name in the region, northeast Victoria. So I grew up with a bilingual and bicultural. This was very, very important for me. I feel I need to always make that a point in who I am now. Also, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I was baptized Catholic at 2 or 3 by my parents, and then my mother was converted to a Jehovah's Witness within years, and then I grew up remembering going to the book study and the meetings of the Jehovah's Witnesses and really, really having a grounding in theology. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing that I need to bring out that makes me, I guess, who I am now. And of those two things, I received persecution. Firstly, I was an immigrant, a WOG. And secondly, I was a Jehovah's Witness, so I was a weird WOG. Mm. So that gave me a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, that sort of stuff, but it really propelled me as well to, not to be reduced by anybody's prejudice or anybody's limitations. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And I was full of aspirations as a young child, full of aspirations. And one of them was to understand scripture and the cosmos and how it really works and what's magnetism and what's electricity and what's God and what's the true philosophy. Is there such a thing? Which is the real language, the true language? I studied languages for 40 years, more, all my life. So all these things are very important when it comes to syncretism. You must have a broad and deep, clear, not deep, clear. As Tesla said, there are a lot of deep thinkers in this world, but there are not many clear thinkers. Oh. So I had clarity across all boards of all fields of knowledge. I had theology, I had astronomy, I had language. I was a musician all my life, linguist, polyglot, autodidact. I ran my own businesses. I've never had a job. I've always been unique. Uranus in the first house rising, and Pluto. That tells you everything. Uranians are ahead of their time. They are unconventional. They're revolutionary, out of the box, just exceptionally electric and technological and scientific. Love knowledge. So I've always loved knowledge, and the greatest blessing I can say, to just wind down this very, very long introduction, is that I have syncretism, and that I have the SAM best method, which is the one and only method of the perennial philosophy. And so I can die tomorrow very, very happy for what I've achieved.
Well, we are very happy for all of your endeavors and your growing up and all these different things that have made you who you are, because it's helping us. Your peace helps us. And I can tell you from my background, I didn't grow up in church, but when I moved to the South, I lived all over because my dad was military, which changed me too, and I understand that. But when I came to the South, there was a lot of biblical push to understand scriptures, and I love the scriptures. I understand that they're pieced together and maybe misunderstood or not interpreted correctly, and there's a lot of things outside of scripture that are put in scripture and not cited and all of that. But I wanted to major in religious education. That's how I was just had such a drive to understand truth and God, and that's where I kind of connected and landed for a while. And but when I had a health issue, I was in full-time ministry, and I started looking for different things outside of truth of what God truly is. And I found you, and you were talking about the pituitary, the pineal, that whole connection with, the energy that comes from your spine through the pineal. And the way that you explained everything with, the milk and honey and, God and the cross, and, you could do it so much better, and you have the graphics and explanation, but it just opened my mind to how amazing God is, and even the body and the physical body. I actually changed I ended up going back to school to become a doctor and learn. I could be a student forever, but tell us a little bit can you talk to us a little bit about the pineal gland and how important it is to us, and how it works and how God has made us to be?
Well, the pineal gland is actually referred to a lot in scripture. It is Jerusalem. It is the Jerusalem above, not the one on the earth. It is the place that Joseph called Penuel when he struggled with an angel, Jacob, and he became Israel because he fought against one of God's angels, and he arrived at a place where he saw God face to face and survived, which means that's when you reach the pineal gland, and you reach your higher limits of your conscious evolution in this life. So activating the pineal gland is part of the Christ activation. The Gospels are a story encoded for the wise to see who have eyes, about the story of how, just like Pinocchio, who used to tell lies and get fooled, how he eventually became a real boy. You see, Pinocchio is the pineal gland, because in Italian, Pinocchio, pin is pineale, the pineal gland. Occhio is ocular.
Oh.
So Pinocchio is the pineal gland. So in all the stories, there is only one story, how you become real. You release the carnal mind, the ego, you let that go, and you go back to God. You go back to the universal mind. Now you are a universal savior. Now you are not selfish. Now you are not self-concerned. Now you are detached from outcomes and sense gratification and lust and vice. And so you've conquered the world within. You don't have to go out fighting and waging physical wars. but spiritual wars within. So the pineal gland is the Pinocchio. When we stop telling lies and stop living the left-hand path, which is what kept seducing Pinocchio, eventually we will come to God realization. And that's the ultimate goal. And that's where you and I are now at different levels. And the listeners as well. They're with us as well. They've all had God realization to some degree. They've perhaps taken an entheogen. They've probably had a Kundalini experience. They've probably just meditated enough to reach that level, or they're probably just there in their evolution. But we're all the same God and having this realization now. But at the same time being individual, which is beautiful, because you never lose that. You never lose that part. God never loses that part of himself. It always remains complete. So your individuality will never perish.
Well, and all of us together have our piece to make the whole, right? So I just love that connection. I can tell you how I found you is because I was absolutely horrified, scared because of religion to go to a yoga class. I mean, they just said I'd get a demon and all kinds of stuff. So I go. I don't know why. I just felt this pull to go, right? But I go, and I had this huge emotional release. I literally was bawling. I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom because it was like a hyperventilating, like cry uncontrollably. I had a memory of something with my grandmother and some things, and it's just like this instant knowing of some things that plopped in, and I was like, oh my gosh. And well, I didn't really, I just wondered, I kind of thought it was just some weird day or some kind of thing. But so I go back, and anyway, it happens 3 times. I went 3 times and it happened 3 times. Then I started thinking, okay, what is the science behind this? There's got to be something going on here. And that's how I found you. And you had your whiteboard. I love your teaching style. You had your whiteboard and you had all your drawings, and you just explained it in a way that my brain could finally get it, and it bypassed no matter what anybody had said to me. I didn't care anymore. I had the experience, and I'm sure you hear this from people all over who find you.
Yep, all the time, every day, and the syncretism community is just growing rapidly, exponentially, daily. People are really, really ascending and living the principles of syncretism, the 3 pillars of philosophy, which are physics, ethics, and logic. But people are getting the 8 ashtas when they come to syncretism. They learn right action, right speech, right intention, right understanding, right concentration, right attentiveness, right effort, and right living. You see, many people remove a few of these rights because they don't like the right-hand path. They're on the left-hand path. So, they perhaps do a little bit of acting, a bit of theatre for the public. Oh, I'm a nice, conscious being, and say a few nice little things, but in private, the living doesn't correspond.
Oh.
And so with syncretism, there's nowhere to hide. It's you can't call yourself a syncretist and not be a syncretist. You just can't. I know someone who was a syncretist, world famous, stopped being a syncretist. Still, she's not a syncretist, and she removed everything from her Facebook page and from her website having anything to do with syncretism. Well, because that's when you go to the left, there's no right action, there's no right understanding, no right concentration, no right speech, no right living. So you have to remove syncretism, because It's either you live the pure life, and that's syncretism, or you live the degenerate life and you descend. Just give me a minute. Someone's at the door.
Yes, yes. So for those of you, I'm just curious, so those of you who are on, how many of you have heard Santos before? How many of you connected with his teaching, studied any of his work? I would love to hear. We got, oh, Veronica's here. Good to see you. Hi, Veronica, all the way from Norway. Good to see you. Awesome. We got Candace Weaver is here. Yes, I know. Holy moly about Pinocchio. I feel you on that one. I'm for sure. We got let's see, Janice is here. I love your crystal, Janice. I love your necklace. Love Santos. Great guest, Sharnael. Awesome. We got Jimmy Jam. All right. I like your little avatar there too. Yeah, there's so much depth. Oh, Emily's here, and she just moved from California to Florida. There's so much depth to what that he is saying. You guys could just
All right, I'm back.
Yay! We're just
Sorry.
no problem. So tell us, you were talking about living a pure life, and you gave us the 8 steps on, 8 kind of guidelines for how to do that. What would you say to someone who, because there's been so much pressure in this last year, right? With just all of the shifts and changes and the lies. I've seen some of your posts. What are your thoughts about consciousness in this last year?
It's expanded, definitely, for sure. There's been a lot of shifting. People are more aware of the way the world has been operating, I guess. Whether it's enough for what they call what do they call the point where we have to reach to
tipping point?
Yeah, the tipping point. I don't know, but I believe since the eclipse and May 26th that things have shifted.
So
massively.
explain that. Explain the May 26th thing, because there's been a lot of questions about, like, what is that exactly, the May 26th?
Okay, so that's when the Toltec 6th, the 5th sun ended, and the 6th sun will begin in 2026, November of 2026.
So what does that do to us? Because I know the ether really is, our ether is affected by these shifts. What do they usually say happens with a 6th sun?
Well, it's the golden age, essentially. It's a different dimension. It's a trans-dimensional way of living that's coming. It won't be mundane. It won't be temporal. There'll be time, but it'll be eternal. There'll be space, but it will be internal. So it will just be trans-dimensional way of living, which is the way we're supposed to live. You know, if you take a DMT trip or Ayahuasca, you already understand that world, you know, but we need humans to come out of their meat bodies, you know, and yeah, make the shift, make the leap.
So what type of things do you suggest that people do in order to actually be okay with the shift? Because I'm seeing some people and they're having a hard time, and then some people it's just easy peasy. You know, what kind of things do you do in this time to be prepared and or shift with the time?
Everything in moderation, and common sense really will lead the way. I mean, if you don't know the difference between good and evil, as Scripture says, then you're just like a Pinocchio, you know, and you're not gonna make it. You know, all his friends, they didn't make it. All of Ulysses' friends didn't make it. Jesus said the road is narrow and cramped that leads to everlasting life, and few are the ones on it. Broad and spacious is the road leading to destruction, and many are following this path, the left-hand path. So to live in moderation, you know, certainly things like drunkenness. I see people who go to yoga and meditation and they're drunkards. I mean, drinking any kind of alcohol is demonic. So, you know, even a half a glass, that's bordering on spiritism and lowering your vibration so low, just even a half a glass of beer, that entities that are lurking, that are dangerous, they are ready to just take in that void, because your force field has been sucked in. It's been lowered. Your protection is, there's no immunity, spiritual immunity. It's like physical immunity. It's how you get sick physically, get a flu, because it drops as well. But spiritually, you know, I mean, yeah, I see people who pretend to be spiritual, and their partners, for instance, are daily drunkards and drug addicts, and they're teaching about yoga. You cannot be an astrologer, a yoga teacher, an instructor, if your partner even is partaking of any of these demonic things. It disqualifies you. I can't be with a prostitute as my partner and be a syncretist. She has to be as pure as I'm teaching. As I teach, my partner must be of that path. So your partner tells you who you are. You know, if your partner's a criminal, you're a criminal. If your partner's a drunkard, you're a drunkard. If they're demonic, you're demonic. If they laugh at astrology, you can't call yourself an astrologer. You can't call yourself a syncretist. You're basically, this is how serious it is. Who you are, who your friends are, is who you are. So even friendships, very, very important to protect yourself. That doesn't mean you don't love everybody. Mm-hmm. We need to be there for everybody, but they're not your friends. You cannot have left-hand pathers as your friends. You automatically invite spiritism and destruction in your life. Their demons will infest you.
What type of spiritual practices do you participate in on a daily, or what, you know, do you do meditation? Do you yoga? Do you read? What books are you reading? What do you meditate on?
Everything: music, yoga, meditation, exercise every day. I have my sun worship every day on the beach, swimming in the ocean, doing yoga, doing my 5 Tibetan rites, playing my guitar, learning, studying every day. I do at least 6 hours of research every day, minimum 6 hours. Every single day since the day I began, and I will not stop. I devote a lot of my time to research.
And who inspires you? Like, what are you researching? What do you look for? What makes you excited about learning? What are you passionate about?
Oh, there's a lot of good teachers out there, a lot of great guys. Not all of them have got it together, because not all of them have syncretism, but the world has syncretism, so it's good that it's there. And then, you know, I go to all these other guys that have got major parts together in one field. I go to them for more learning, and there's lots. You know, we know who they are. There's great truthers out there now, and they're brave, and they're coming out in full force. I like seeing the doctors coming out. I like seeing the new spiritually devoted people coming out and teaching, correct diet, correct living, and living the path, getting off the grid, and learning how to live the true spiritual life.
Awesome. Well, I know that being where you are, where you live, to wake up and have the ocean right there and just be able to experience that on a regular must be really good for your code, your vibration, your biofield, just nature in general.
Yeah, it's good here. There is certain things that bring the frequency down here in Puerto Morelos. That would be the electronic grid here. That they are playing with it. We know that. We've had it measured, and they're playing with it here. So, but Playa and Cancun and Tulum are way worse. So here is where the academy is going to start, and it's going to have a great grounding. It's probably the best magnetic place to be in the world, the Mayan Riviera, right now.
Well, you mentioned something about an academy. You're starting an academy?
Yep, syncretismsociety.com. We are on Instagram, Syncretism Society. People can follow us there, and they can join. They can come out here and do a retreat, or they can join online. There's a GoFundMe. We've got a GoFundMe now, so that we can get. We've got an office that we've just started renting today. We've bought all this furniture so that we can do podcasts weekly, and we're buying equipment for healing people, Tesla and Dersenval technology. Lots of protocols, lots of technologies, Skyo technology, ozone therapies. We're working with things like Ormus and stuff that we can't even mention. We've got all the protocols covered. Alchemical, from alchemical to technological, we've got that all in one place. You come here, you experience syncretism living with daily routine. Every day there is learning and healing.
That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know you guys were starting something. And someone's mentioning here about Logan. That's when I actually interviewed Logan, and he told me that he was friends with you. I don't know how your name came up. Something about my shift, and he's like, "Oh, I know him," and so he's going to be working with you too.
Yeah. He's probably I would say the third important, significant individual in the history of syncretism right now. Danny, my right-hand man, he's definitely the wind that's in the sails. My sailboat was kind of sitting in stagnant waters for a while, but Danny and I, he's been following my channel for 10 years. So has Logan. Logan turned up yesterday. He's now going to be permanently here. The three of us are spearheading syncretism. Logan will be, there's two divisions to the academy: healing the corpus and learning the Elysium. And I'll be on that side. Danny will be on the left side, and Logan will be on both teaching and healing. He's very, very much into nutrition and things like that, and he knows a lot of protocols. And so does Danny, and they're going to be very, very busy. We're working with shamans and curanderos, yoga masters, great teachers. We've got shamans to do all kinds of entheogenic ceremonies. We're going to be doing tours to Chichen Itza, to Coba. We'll be even doing a little bit of snorkeling here off one of the best reefs in the world. it's going to be a package. We're going to have packages for people. It'll be a campus. There's going to be a Syncretism cafe, which will be open, where people can go and read books and sit around and talk syncretism, and we'll have lectures next door. We'll be inviting great teachers from all around the world. I expect to invite people like Frank Chester, Ken Wheeler, some of these great guys that are out there that inspire me. So they'll be here. They'll be wanting to speak at this academy, because it'll be the greatest academy in the history of history.
That's amazing. I love it. And what about like kids, animals? Is it for everybody? You know, I know it's so much healing, and that's amazing.
There's only one condition for people who come to the learning side. We're only accepting people who have a vegetarian or vegan diet in the Elysium. So I won't be teaching astrology or any sacred science to any flesh eaters. But anyone who has ailments and wants to really get into the healing center and heal themselves, they are welcome. Flesh eaters, we're not having any restrictions there at all, because everyone is deserves to heal physically. The spiritual side, that the Neoplatonists did not accept into the mystery school any flesh eaters, and so that's our school will be based on Neoplatonic principles. Porphyry and Iamblichus will be the main models of my school. So I'm going to honour them the most of all the great Neoplatonists. Sallustius, Macrobius, Plotinus, Proclus as well, but none of them come to anywhere near Porphyry or Iamblichus. So, but on the healing side, everyone's welcome. And in the cafe, it will not be vegan. It will be vegetarian/vegan. So people can have honey there. They can have, we're going to source cheeses that have good animal fats in them for people who still need them. I'm not recommending this. I'm not recommending it at all. But I do acknowledge and understand that some people still need those to transition, because we're all at different levels. And in the Ayurvedic diet that we're going to have at these syncretism cafes, we can eat from the animals, but not the animals. So things like milk and honey, you see, there's always motifs in the scriptures that animals have blessed humans with their fruit. It's their fruit. There's no suffering as long as the animals do not die. The bees are not killed, as long as the cattle and the sheep are loved and looked after and not modified. This will be available. So that's just for those who need it. I'm sure I won't be partaking. I'm pretty much a vegan except for honey. And so, I believe
for those transitioning, when you have seen people or experienced people move from meat eaters to vegetarian or vegan, what kind of changes would someone expect? I mean, obviously like frequency and what have you, but how does that connect with healing?
Well, immediately you become more transcendent. Syncretism came to me after I became a vegetarian. I wouldn't have had syncretism if I had kept eating flesh in 2007, 2008, when I decided to stop exploiting animals. And I didn't feel that I needed to have this blood addiction. It was blood, it's bloodthirstiness. Animals give their blood and there's blood particles in all flesh. So I didn't want to mix animal blood particles in with my human divine system. I realized that I would perfect myself and optimize without consuming exploited, rotting corpse.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we have another question here. If you know, with Candace Weaver, actually, she said, I heard you mention ayahuasca. Were you in favor? Please explain the difference between entities with alcohol open up entities versus ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm in favor of entheogens. Entheogens are sacred plants which transcend the individual to higher realms and to the realms of theos, entheogen. Alcohol does not do this. Alcohol, it is known, lowers your frequency. It brings you to lower realms. We want plants and substances that bring us to higher realms. That's the difference. So I'm in favor of iboga, ayahuasca, bufo, sapo, cambo, DMT, peyote, and San Pedro. I'm not recommending them. No one is going to be, it's not going to be part of the curriculum. It's not going to be necessarily one of the tenets of the academy, but we will have people that practice these and have been practicing all around us who have already given us their nod of support and approval that they will take care of anyone wishing to partake in any kind of entheogen. And they will be doing that mostly on a Saturday. And because Sunday will be Temescal Day, where we have a real community day and we just go to the beach after the Temescal and we sing and dance and play music. And it's a rest day, which will be Sunday, and fasting as well, or light fruit eating or just juice drinking. But mostly people will be doing intermittent fasting of 16 hours a day. After beach work, every morning at 10 o'clock, we will start juicing at the cafe. Everyone goes back to the cafe, gets a smoothie or fruit bowl or whatever. And then there will be lunch and then dinner at 6. And this will be all Ayurvedic. Some will be cooked, most will be raw. But we're not going to be really too pedantic about that. Whether it's vegan or restaurant, it's going to be plant-based and no animal exploitation, period. Even the cheeses that we may, yogurts, for instance, that we may have, may or may not. I'm still not 100% sure whether we need to even do that, because depending on how fast this ship goes. But the way I see so many people who supposedly think they are enlightened and eat flesh still and consume a lot of animal fat and really believe so strongly, I just come to the conclusion that I'm not compromising, but I am being patient and loving, and I need to be less rigid, because I'm a very rigid individual and it's done me a lot of harm. So, you know, whether it's going to get me flack or whether it's going to cause people to say negative things, well, you know, I have to learn to be less rigid and accommodate people at their levels, but never will I be ever recommending any kind of exploitation of animals. So everything in this school is going to be based on the right way of living. There will be 11 tenets. The first tenet will be geocentric, stationary Earth, then permaculture, then homeopathy / naturopathy, as opposed to allopathy, permaculture as opposed to agriculture. So we're going to be teaching all the right models and the right methods. Our school will be based on installing the correct models. The correct model of the atom is where everything begins. Our journey will begin with understanding that all is atom. To understand the basic nature of an atom. And you will not learn anywhere in the world better how to understand an atom than on my channel, Mr. Astrotheology. That's where you will learn more about the universe and about the atomic nature of the universe, the true atomic nature of the universe, than anywhere else. Otherwise, you will learn a lot from Ken Wheeler, a genius, but he hasn't put together the things that I have. Simple. Pierluigi Ghina, John Nowelski, and David Lapointe in Primerfields. Stan Tenen, Dance of the Hebrew Alphabet, YouTube. Stan Tenen. Those are guys. And another one, Asher, what's his name? He's another flat earther. He's a Jewish scholar. Someone, Ben Asher. If someone can please help me with that, I'll try and get his name. But he's a Jewish scholar. See if I can do that while you shoot over the next question.
Yeah, you mentioned going back to what Candace's question is about entities, just on scalar waves. You mentioned technology and Uranus and being a kind of a techie and ahead of time. With scalar waves, you can test the biofield, and the field will actually show that entities come in with alcohol, because alcohol is a 10, and actually prescription drugs and a lot of different drugs will bring, we're higher, hopefully higher frequencies, but when we participate in something that's 10, 25 is dead. So you go into lower than 10, then you're actually, like you said, your shield is down and you're opening up and entertaining, basically it's consent to entities outside of, that aren't necessarily going to be beneficial to you. You mentioned the sacred sciences. First of all, do you have books? I would love to read your books if you have books. Have you written? I know you've got papers and lots of stuff on websites and what have you. Have you actually put a book together?
No. Pythagoras. I think I'm probably following the style of Pythagoras, who it is said never did write, put pen to paper. Whereas Plato did, and guys like that. So I don't know. I'm not against writing a book, but where do I get the time? I need. What I would like to do is work with co-authors. There are people who have written tens and tens and tens of books based on my work and given me dedications. For instance, Joanna Crowder here. I have, before I left Australia, Joanna Crowder, PhD, she dedicated a whole bunch of chapters from my work. So I don't know how many hundreds, not tens, hundreds of books that have been written on my teachings with credits to me in the credits. But yeah, if I did put pen to paper, I would make the best book that was ever written in the history of the universe. But I would rather make the best documentary videos with a good team. I need about 10 tech guys to come out here and get involved in a project with me where I will tell you and show you how to make the greatest video about science, nature, the truth, and how things work and just everything. I'd be happy to work with you, and we can monetize the project as well, so that people are not coming, to starve to death. But I want intelligent people who are professional and who will be able to be funded. So I'll be doing GoFundMes So I'm reaching out to people, anyone listening who really, really has a good grasp of syncretism and wants to come out here and help me make some videos and some books. Come on out. I will support you with GoFundMe's financially as much as I can, because there's people coming in their droves with lots and lots of financial help. Right now, there's a sister here in Puerto who wants to invest. She wants to invest $1 million US. And she said, what would you like me? I would like to do that for Syncretism Santos. Which hotel, which resort, which place shall we get? Let's look for a place. I'll put down $1 million and we'll get this going. So that's the sister who's here right now.
That's great.
And that's the sort of people that are following syncretism, millionaires. So come forward now. Make your name in history now in the greatest revolution ever. Can you see me?
Yep, I see you.
Okay, I had the video went down. So I'm starting the greatest revolution of history. The best teachings are coming back, and they are ancient. They're not New Age. None of this comes from any of this new Jesuit global New Age psyop with all of these false gurus and teachers, all of them on YouTube. They're all deceivers. They're all satanic deceivers. You can see it in their eyes. You can see a demon. You can see a demon teacher, a true teacher, in their eyes. You know, if there's no soul in their eyes, you can see that they are degenerate. So just look in their eyes. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you great. You're doing great. Appreciate all of your input here. When you were talking about the going back to the Kundalini, you know, that's a scary word in some places. At least, oh, you kind of froze on me. Can you hear me? Shoot, I hope you're there. Is it frozen with you guys too? Can you guys see him moving, or am I the only one that can't see him moving? All right, Santos. No one's responding. Maybe I'm the one who's frozen. Can you guys see him? Let me see if it's on. Oh, it's frozen. Okay. Give it just a second. While he's doing that, I would love to hear where you guys are from too. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I can. You see it, Candace? Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a couple minutes. Oh, maybe he'll pop back in. He just went away. I'm going to send him another link to set this up. Australia, Massachusetts. Santos is frozen. You are fine. Thank you, Fawn. White Beaches of Alabama. I see you, Leslie. There you are. I'm going to give him just a couple minutes. Talk about a sovereign, beautiful being. Anyway, so when we were in the middle of talking about his place in the sacred science, I got involved with understanding more about who he is and what he's doing because of his explanation on the pineal and the power of the pineal, which actually gives human man-made DMT. You don't need to take anything outside of you, any external, any exogenous things, because we have everything already within us. And I had a powerful experience with yoga a few times, which, you know, the word yoga too is also really freaky because, you know, I don't know, because there is a whole yoga religion. Oh, he's back. There he is.
Hello.
There you go. Hi. Awesome. Bless you. Oh, bless you. Yeah, I was talking to them in the middle of this about going back to the whole Kundalini thing and also yoga, because again, in some of the circles that I was in, yoga was bad, Kundalini's bad. It was, you know, the word yoga just means union. It's coming back to God, like you said, is that connection. Can you explain Kundalini on a science level? I know this is super basic for you because you've been doing it, 40 years or something, but for those who are coming on, that this isn't so basic. This is brand new.
Well, Kundalini is such a common motif in all scriptures. In the Bible, Moses put up the copper serpent in the wilderness to save the people. In the Old Testament, in the New Testament, Jesus says to Nicodemus, unless you lift up the Son of Man as Moses lifted up the copper serpent in the wilderness, you will not be born again. And he says, I'm surprised you don't know what it means to be born again, Nicodemus. You're a teacher of the Jews, and you don't know what it means to be born again. You have to lift up the Son of Man. Well, the Son of Man happens to be the son of manna. Manna is the juice, the cerebrospinal fluids, which come from the claustrum, the Santa claustrum at the North Pole, and go down the chimney, feeding the vagus nerve and all the pneumogastric nervous system and all the vital organs, and then returns and comes back to reawaken the prodigal son. And so that happens with the Kundalini energy, which is coiled at the bottom of your spine. We all have a coil there. We are a battery. You see, the negative coil is at the perineum, the bottom chakra. It's feminine. The masculine chakra is the second chakra. That's positive. So when you clench your muscles down below at the perineum, you are now grounding with your feet to the ground negatively. You are making a circuit. Now you have way more strength, way more power, because you realize that that is the source of your grounded energy on the earth. This is how great masters win martial arts tournaments, you see. Bruce Lee taught this. Paco de Lucia, the fastest and best flamenco guitarist in the world, he says, just squeeze your muscle cheeks. He says, when I want to go fast, he was asked, how do you play so fast? He goes, I just squeeze my muscle cheeks, my cheek muscles, muscle cheeks. Sorry. His butt cheeks, so we don't confuse anybody. And people laughed that off. In the interviewer laughed that off, and no one really. I don't think many people understood what he was saying. But this is a great secret. You put your tongue under your palate, and you squeeze the cheeks below, and voila, you have magnetic coil going through you.
Wow.
That's why when you shut up and listen, like a good student, your tongue is busy up against the palate as far back as it can, as far, far, far back as it can. There is where you create a circuit in your body and you make a flow of energy. And you clench those muscles down below, and this is how you improve your sexuality. This is how you improve your femininity, your masculinity, your godship, your divinity. This is how you become more powerful, more sovereign, more free, and healthier and sexier. Who doesn't want to be more sexy? You know, I'm 58. I'm not gonna have what do they have? Collagen injections, or what are those things they put in there?
Botox
and stuff like that. The moment they do that, they expose themselves, because you can tell that they put that stuff in them, and they look stupid. They look old and young at the same time. It doesn't work. You know? You got to look. You got to look at. You got to look how you feel, and you will look how you feel. If you're all shriveled up and you're, oh, I'm 58 now. My cousin Bob died of cancer when he was 58, and my mum died when she was 49 of bowel cancer. I think I might be able to breathe for another year and a half. If you start, if that's your mind, well then, you know, I'm never going to die. I know that I'm never going to die because I don't live in that world of death. I'm alive now, right? I have life. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to keep my life forever. I will not die. I don't have to die. It's a choice.
Yeah, I was just talking about this in the interview I did earlier. You know, even our conditioning when there's a birthday or something, we'll say, well, how old are you? Instead of how young are you? You know, just that mindset of, you know, thinking we got this. We're eternal beings. We don't have to be programmed to this end, a certain point of time where 70 years or 80 years or this is going to happen at this time. We just are, and we can break all those cycles without any kind of tools or kickstands or whatever people are using in Hollywood and the cabal and everything else. We can just drink juice and tea and meditate and do some great things. How do you feel about coffee?
I love coffee, especially coffee enemas and white raw coffee. But drinking coffee is such a great treat for me, but I don't do it. I haven't had coffee for, I don't know, to be really, really accurate, I would say the last time was about 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And I was only having one occasionally, and every second cup I had, I didn't like anymore. It wasn't. I'll probably go back to it because I love the stimulation of it, and I believe it's cathartic and it's healthy. Same with cigars. I haven't smoked a cigar for months now, but there was a period there I was smoking cigars 2 a day. It was beautiful, you know, pure tobacco, cleaning my spirit, cleaning my soul. But I haven't touched that for 2 months, and I won't because I don't need to. See, this is the thing about me. I have no addictions. I never have, and I never will. I have nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. Not even sexual, really. I mean, I am a sexual individual, and I love romance and love and affection. And I believe in soulmates and twin souls, but I'm strong enough to, you know, go without if I have to. And I have done for many, many years in my life. I've been without partners. I've done 7-year stints, 3-year stints, 5-year stints. And so that doesn't really worry me at all. But I love coffee, I love chocolate, I love beer. I really love beer, but last time I had a beer was when I was in San Miguel de Allende 3 months ago with Logan. He loves beer. But yeah, we just had the one, you know, one beer. I love it. I think beer is the most, I think I would say beer is the most delicious thing ever.
Nice. Awesome. Well, one final question to you. You mentioned sacred scientists or sacred science, and I like that marriage of the sacred and the science, just because in this world that we're in, there is so much quote science and or even political science for whatever agenda is going on. But when you say sacred science, to me, I just like the combination because it's the pure science. But what is your definition of sacred science when you're teaching on this? Like, what does that mean to you?
Sacred geometry, natural philosophy, astrology, atomology, So essentially, all we need is the correct model of the universe, and we already have it. It's called the atom.
Mm-hmm.
When you understand what an atom is, then you can understand exactly how simple nature is. Nature always follows these laws. Nature always only has one way of making things appear physical, and that's called electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Transcendental nature is called magnetism. Magnetism is radiation. Electricity is vibration. Magnetism is spiritual. Electricity is physical. Magnetism is longitudinal, scalar waves. Electricity is transverse, Hertzian waves.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Magnetism is 10 billion times more powerful than its hybrid child electricity, the Son of God. Thank you, Maxwell and Faraday. I'll repeat. Magnetism is 10 billion times more powerful than the transverse electrical wave or electricity. Magnets create our reality, magnetism. How? By creating time and space through what we call a proton and an electron. A proton is nothing but redshift. An electron is nothing but blue shift. Everything is redshift, blue shift in the world. Those are the two colors of polarity which cause the electromagnetic spectrum. The rainbow on one side is red, and on the other side you've got your blues, indigos, violets, but it's blue shifted. Your torso is blue color here, top of the torso. Torso means Taurus field. The bottom is red. So your torso is redshift, blue shift. Your police sirens are red and blue, ambulance sirens. Your hot and cold tap are red and blue, the faucets. Your children get red or blue, pink for girls, blue for boys. Red pill, red blood, blue blood. Roses are red, violets are blue. Republicans are red, Democrats are blue. Everything. In Star Wars, the red sabers were the evil guys. The blue sabers, Jedi, were the good guys. So what we have is red and blue light in the red and blue yin and yang of the South Korean flag. You are taught there of this electrical red shift, blue shift world. And around that red and blue yin and yang, you have the four I Ching elements: earth, fire, air, and water. Above the red and blue demiurgic yin and yang exists the monad, the black and white, the nagual and the tonal, as they say here in the Mayan and the Aztec. Nagual is where we get naga, niga, negro, naga. Jesus was a naga. He was a nigger, because it's that black energy, the dark light of rest, which means crest, which means Christ. So a naga, nagual, or a nigger, is a true Christian. White light, tonal, all is a ton. That is the God that I have on my. I've been showing. I have a T-shirt with the with the Aztec calendar, and in the center you have the sun. There is the sun and the face with his tongue sticking out, just as Krishna does, just as Jagannath does, just as Ken Wheeler shows under his Pharaoh cell, the tongue sticking out of the hyperbole of the torus field, making the shapes of owl faces and all kinds of faces. That's how magnetism works. So essentially, we're going to be understanding the true model. Once you have the correct model, you have the correct method. The method of teaching is the best method. Bonacci ecliptic sine wave toroidal method. It's the only way, it's the only method to teach the correct model, which is the SAN. Syncretic, astrological, etymological, model, best, Bonacci ecliptic sine wave toroidal method. Once you have the correct model and the correct method, you don't need no guru. You don't need no books. All you need now is your own intelligence. Bring it back. Remember this science. Remember how nature works. We all have it. It's not mine. It's everyone's. I happen to have remembered it, and I'm sharing it. Am I doing a service to humanity or a disservice? I don't know, but that's what I do. So if you really want to know how nature works and be sovereign and be on the path of ascension, it's syncretism. Those who are ashamed to even use the word syncretism and remove it from their life, so they should be, because I know who they are. They are drunkards, they are degenerates, they are Satanists, they are left-hand pathers, they are full of vice. They don't go from vice to virtue, they go from virtue to vice. Can't feel. I've seen them. I've seen these people. They get on, pretend to be astrologers, and how can you be obese and be drinking wine and doing astrology at the same time? First of all, it shows that you're eating a lot of pork, which disqualifies you from being an astrologer, period. Astrologers are vegetarian. That's how they always were since time immemorial. Since Copernicus came along, they decided to exploit and murder animals, and if any astrologer out there thinks they're an astrologer and they're eating flesh, you're a Satanist. Secondly, I see a lot of them drinking wine, doing their tarot readings and everything like that. Pure false prophets. These are the people. I'll be pulling their panties down. I'll be bringing back the true way, like Noah did in his time. And all the ones outside of the syncretism ark, they will all drown and perish. Everyone outside of syncretism, I pity you. I pity anyone who doesn't know syncretism. I feel so sad, so brokenhearted for them. Anyone who doesn't know my channel and the truth of syncretism, to me, I have all the happiness I need because of it. And they are sad, and they don't know it, because all they're missing is syncretism. That's all we're looking for. That's all we need, syncretism.
I had an encounter in 2010 where these beings showed up, and one main message that they had, it literally went through my entire body, and anyone who's followed me has heard me talk about it. But they said, this one said, "You're not truly living unless you're living truth." And I knew that meant every area, embodying everything that is pure and good and true, whether you're with, who you're hanging out with, what you drink, what you eat, what you wear, where you live, what job you take, or what you do for your purpose, if you want to call it job, whatever. How do you feel about off-planet ET type? Do you think that we're the only ones here, or do you think there's something out there? Or you mentioned flat Earth a while ago. Like, where are you on all that?
Well, the ancient scriptures teach us where all the demonic entities have been cast. They've been cast down under the earth to a place called Tata, and it's infernal, Hades, Sheol. In Bhagavad Gita, it's called, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, it's called the subterranean heavenly plains, which are truly hellish. And these are the people who come up through the oceans, through the volcanoes, through the North Pole, from that Antarctica, from all over their portals, from under the earth with their technology, and corrupt our bloodline, the blue bloods, who have been seeded by these demonic entities from under the earth and do their bidding. So these people are going to be running back down under the earth. They're going to be running for cover soon, because there's way too much light for these pedivores to operate anymore. Your Hillary Clintons, they're just going to dissolve. Your Bushes, these lizard degenerate, whatever they are, they're not human. They are not human. But wherever they are, they will perish. They're in eternal damnation. They are the damned of old. Damned. They have been damned since many, many, many ages ago. And there's no redemption plan for them. There's nothing that will redeem these individuals. Nothing. That's how they can murder a young child and drink their blood and adrenochrome and have sex and have orgies and enjoy themselves in their lust baths. How do they do that? Because they are so far gone, there is no redemption. They are eternally damned.
Wow. I agree. Well, so how do people find you? Please give us your website, social media, anything else, because we could go on for a long time, but I know your time is very valuable and I appreciate you so much. For those of you who want to connect more and see where this retreat place is, where the center is going to be, where the university is going to be, the school, mystery schools, please tell us how we can find you.
All you need to do is follow Syncretism Society on Instagram. That's where all the updates are going to be. Okay. My channel, Mr. Astrotheology. I will also be posting when and how to join, in what capacity, whether it's online or whether it's in person by flying out to Cancun. All of this will be made available within the next week or two. So just keep following us. Be patient. We're going to have a newsletter sent out probably within 3 or 4 days. I've got all the subscribers from the back end of my website who have subscribed to Universal Truth School. I'm getting all those emails, sending them the promotional video for our academy, and right now I will share with you the name of the video that everyone can go and watch on my channel. If you go back, it is called Welcome to Syncretism Society. So watch that video, Welcome to Syncretism Society. It's 3 minutes. It's a promotional video of what we're doing, and I think it's one of the most inspirational videos I've ever seen. And we are in our tens and in our hundreds here, ready to make this happen. And we've got good financial supporters as well. So
yeah, I can put all the links in here too, so you guys can just have something really easy, clickable. I'll put the link to that YouTube channel and to that YouTube video, as well as his website and Instagram and all of that, just so it's super easy where you guys can find him easy. But thank you so much from my heart, and just love what you guys are doing. Please give love to Logan as well, and just appreciate what you're doing for so many people. No matter where you are or what you're doing, you're affecting all of us as a collective, and people who don't even know it, they're being affected. So thank you so much for your time and your love, and hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you, dear sister. I appreciate your kindness and for having me on. And thank you to the listeners. And hope to catch up with you in some capacity in the future.
Yes, sir. All right. Bless you. You have a great night. Thank you, guys. And thank all of you who are here watching. We'll be on the lookout and see you guys soon. Please go to swiftfire.org, swiftfire.org, and get the newsletter. Then you can find out where we are, what we're doing, who's being interviewed, what classes are coming up. But with all this stuff with social media and everything, that's the best way is go to swiftfire.org and get the newsletter. That way you know what's going on no matter where I am. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great one. Thank you so much and bless you. All right. Bye-bye.